Hey, this is Ian Maphett, and you're listening to Story to Screen Movie Review Podcast.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Story to Screen Podcast, the movie podcast where we review all different kinds of movies, new and old. I am your host, Chris. Joining me today again for his fifth time, which is a record, Benjamin Curley. Hey, Benjamin, how's it going?
Hey, what's up? Do I get a prize?
No. You just get a nice little thank you. That's all you get.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I would love to give you a present, but, your tastes are too expensive.
Yeah, it's true.
So, unless you would like a condo.
I'll pass.
Okay. Or a new sports car.
Yeah, well, I mean, what are we talking?
It's used. It's got a bad battery, and it's got a bad motor, so...
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Never mind, yeah.
But you're a mechanic. You can fix that stuff, so... Anyway, and joining us for the first time on the Story to Screen podcast, another person involved in the Christian media. He's a musician, filmmaker, and he's also a photographer as well. Ian Maphett. Hey, how's it going, Ian?
It is going pretty well. Happy to be on the show.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Privileged to join the honorable ranks of Benjamin Curley and get associated with this veteran of this show. It's quite an honor. Oh, by the way, I am expecting that condo.
Okay. Would you have a choice between that or a year's supply of chocolate candy?
Well, either one. I'm not picky.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll send you a box of chocolates from Hershey's Kisses, I guess. So, anyway.
That sounds good to me.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we'll be reviewing the new Godzilla movie starring Bryan Cranston, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, Ken Watanabe, and Sally Hawkins.
Gentlemen, you are being sent in via Halo Jump. Now, I realize not all of you have had hands-on experience. Frankly, none of us have ever faced a situation quite like this one before. But I would not be asking any one of you to take this leap if I did not have complete faith in your ability to succeed. Your courage will never be more needed than it is today.
So, gentlemen, what is your relationship to this iconic creature that has been kind of crossing the screens for almost 50 years now? Did you guys grow up watching the Godzilla movies or the cartoons or anything like that?
Godzilla was one of those things that growing up was kind of off in the distance because, growing up homeschooled and without a TV, your options are limited. But, it's one of those things that I recognize now as a videographer. It's just one of those iconic institutions. It's not meant to be taken terribly seriously. It's just fun, I mean, who doesn't like seeing massive monsters beat each other up on screen?
Exactly.
Well, the only Godzilla movie I ever watched was the '98 remake, which, that's basically my taste of Godzilla up until now.
Place to start.
Yeah, yeah.
That isn't a good place to start, man. That is danger zone right there.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Roland Emmerich,
Come on,
man.
Matthew Broderick. He's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, without meaning to be.
Yeah. So, no, my experience with Godzilla is basically what I remember seeing in Blockbuster as I browsed the aisles, wondering how many of those movies they actually had. And then
30.
And then the 98 film, yeah.
So none of you have really kind of experienced the 1954 classic, have you?
I watched half of it before joining the podcast.
I managed to watch the whole thing today. I'm quite proud of myself, actually.
Okay. What were your thoughts on it? Because that's the one where it really stems, where it all started.
Yeah. I mean, it's watching it now, I can see how it was kind of a big deal. It's the paragon of all B movies, really. Like, that's the one all B movies look to when they think about making a movie, like, because it's just looking back now, of course, with the new one, the massive, crazy CGI effects, and looking at that first original one, and the obvious toy helicopters that they used. It's kind of funny.
Oh, it's a hoot to watch. I mean, especially when the Godzilla has gone through Tokyo and the jet pilots are just are just diving at him and they're shooting the missiles at him. And
Don't spoil it for me.
Yeah.
That's right. He's only seen
Well, yeah, but he's this guy. I mean, this monster. He's able to move his arms like he's a karate expert, like he's swatting flies. Do you know what I'm talking about?
that was funny. Seeing whoever that poor guy was in that suit trying to swat at these going by, I didn't want to be that guy. That just looked ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. So what did you guys think of the new Godzilla movie? Ian, we'll start with you.
One word: epic.
You liked it, okay?
Again, it's a franchise that's not really meant to be taken terribly seriously, but I loved the CGI, and a lot of the cinematography was fantastic. My thoughts walking out from it was basically, okay, they knew this was just basically a massive monster flick of two huge monsters rampaging through San Francisco and these other massive cities. And they weren't terribly concerned about dialogue or anything like that. But, when it came to everything else, they wanted to make sure it looked good. Want to make sure those monsters beating the living daylights out of each other looked good. So on that level, I enjoyed it. You walk in with low expectations, and you'll be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those weird situations where I was kind of a little optimistic with this movie, because I was kind of like, this could be good, this could be a disaster, but I was kind of leaning more towards the positive side, because I think the trailers really kind of sent to me this idea of, this is going to be a really, really gritty take on Godzilla, and then from out of nowhere, like about a week ago this very day, some nincompoop, and Trey, this wasn't you, Trey Bowles, this wasn't you at all, this was somebody else, some idiot from a film critic posted on Yahoo. It was a headline on Yahoo Movies, and he said Godzilla is barely in the new Godzilla movie. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no!
Curse you, film critic!
Curse you! And I was just, it really hit me, because wait a minute. Gee whiz, that is so dumb. So I kind of, with that in the back of my mind, that was going to be, going to this movie, that was now in the back of my mind, and I'm like, oh, no, that whole thing's spoiled, so I'm not going to really expect much of a Godzilla movie then. But I've got to say, after watching the movie, and even though there wasn't much Godzilla in this movie, I kind of enjoyed it a lot. I mean, I don't think it's as good as the original, because I think that movie managed to balance the character stories and the whole thing with the monster very well, because I think they had a very good balance in that movie. In this one, it was a little bit different. The character stuff, which I kind of enjoyed, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into the show. But for the most part, I really enjoyed the human story in this movie. I really loved the Brody. What's his name again? Ford Brody.
I think it's Ford Brody.
I really enjoyed his relationship with his father in the first 45 minutes. Dude, Bryan Cranston was actually really good in this movie, and I know him. I know he's been known from Breaking Bad, but I know him more from Malcolm in the Middle as Frankie Muniz' dad from that show.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was impressed with his performance. You could tell he was really putting his all into that performance.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll talk about a little later, but I really enjoyed it. I have some problems with it, especially with some stuff that I kind of thought about a little bit more. But for the most part, I came away really enjoying this movie.
Well, I really enjoyed it. I liken it to the remake of Battle of Los Angeles with Aaron Eckhart, and same feel and theme in my mind, and but I really liked the human element that they put into it a lot more. We had some characters that we really sympathized for, and despite Godzilla not being in it that much, I think his very dramatic poses near the end made up for that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I would describe it as hilariously serious.
Okay, that's why would you say it? Why would you put it that way?
Well, probably mostly because of the poses. Well, okay. Basically, half the theater was laughing with me during the last half of the movie.
Okay.
Oh, and then there's this one guy across about an aisle back from me, and he's every time any of the monsters showed up, he just burst out laughing. I think it's because he was enjoying it, but
like he could have been. So he was like laughing gleefully because he was seeing these characters.
I think so.
Not laughing at it.
Yeah, no, I think he was just giddy. Yeah.
So he's laughing with joy, like, oh, Godzilla! And what is that? The Cloverfield monster. Why did they rip off the Cloverfield monster? I'm so mad! I take that back. He looked like a stick bug. I'm sorry for saying that. He looked like a stick bug.
Yeah, I mean, had there been like 10 more lens flares and explosions, I might have thought it was a transformer.
I was actually thinking Cloverfield. It needed a little more shaky cam. But, yeah.
But we'll talk about the big guy himself, Godzilla. What did you guys think of him? He looked pretty good.
Yeah.
When he finally showed up, his foot comes into the screen in front of in the airport. Some guy in the theater finally says, "Finally! You finally showed up! Where have you been?" In a way, I kind of felt that way inside, like, finally. It was a weird feeling as opposed to being like, finally, he's here. Come on, bring it on. It was like, did you have to take that long of a bathroom break? Come on.
Well, come on. He just woke up, you know.
Poor guy was taking a nap.
For 50 years?
Come on, tell me you move faster in the morning.
I know I don't.
Maybe. Well, he had a good cold shower down there.
He didn't have his coffee or 5-hour energy yet. Come on.
Look, I'm sure he ate.
Give him a chance.
Look, I'm sure he ate a nutritional octopus while he was down there.
I've heard those things have a crazy energy boost.
You think?
You're lying. Because what's really happening is that you're hiding something out there. I'm right, aren't I? My wife died here. Something killed my wife. And I have a right to know! I deserve answers!
Let's talk about the performances. I really liked Bryan Cranston in this movie, and as you just mentioned a little while ago, Ian, you sense like he put a lot of effort into this movie. Especially in the dramatic scenes. I mean, the scene when he loses his wife, he was fantastic in that moment. I mean, especially when the doors were closing for the last time, and he had his hands on the round little window there, and then they just looking at her and for the last time. Oh my gosh, that scene. Yeah, that scene.
It was a very honest performance. I really appreciated that.
No, it was good. It was really good. Everyone really fit well, and the only face that just kind of stood out awkwardly was David Stratham. Just kind of he's so recognizable face lately from a lot of movies I've been watching. He just kind of stood out, but the rest of them they blended really well.
Were any of you shocked that they killed off Bryan Cranston so early in the movie?
I kind of was.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah.
Like, are they like the monster like hits a bridge or something like that, and he just falls down and like, oh, I thought he was dead already at that point.
That's what I thought too. I was like, what?
And then he dies on
his contract ran out quickly.
Yeah.
Listen, look, I gotta go back to Breaking Bad. I'm shooting the final season. I gotta leave. So just kill me off as soon as you can. So, I don't like monster movies. Okay, I don't like them at all.
Just give me the paycheck and I'll leave.
and just leave me some money from the merchandise that you make, and I'll be just fine. Okay, you can use my likeness and anything like that on the action figures. Just make sure you make a good action figure of me. But no, that death scene kind of shocked me. People have kind of said that he should have continued on more so in the movie, and then maybe died later on. But I actually kind of felt like he served the purpose. In a weird way, that's what kind of boosts what's his name again, Ford's arc a little bit. I mean, and here's something I want to talk about a little bit. I felt like what's his name again, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I felt like his arc was kind of a little thin at times. It just felt like to me like I got to get back to my family, but he was more kind of along for the ride as opposed to kind of having a more thematic.
Yeah, he just wrong place, wrong time every time.
Yeah, I know that's kind of what I kept thinking. Is like, no, surely this is not 24 people. He just doesn't always end up at the wrong place at the wrong time. That was weird for me because like he keeps talking about getting back to his family, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, let's mess with this bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
And he doesn't even do anything. And he doesn't even do anything at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
He just that's what a lot of critics were pointing out today, that he was supposed to dismantle the bomb, and he doesn't even do that at the end. All he does, like, they get the bomb, the soldiers get the bomb, all he does is burn the eggs, and
yeah. Well, I think that's kind of he's encapsulating the role of all of mankind in that, doesn't matter what we try, we just can't succeed against these monsters.
Well, he succeeded all right. He killed that. he killed that one monster's babies, all right.
Yeah, but he couldn't. He still couldn't touch the big ones. So I think that's he was just kind of embodying that idea.
Okay,
it was like that one line that Sarazawa put out about how man's arrogance is that we think we can control nature when it's the other way around, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt like that was an extension of that idea.
Well, you just mentioned that line. Can I just say how much of a fan I am of Ken Watanabe, the Japanese actor, the guy who played the Japanese professor? Or
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am a fan of this guy. I have seen him in. He's been in Inception, Batman Begins, The Last Samurai. He is phenomenal in Letters from Iwo Jima. Have any of you guys seen Letters from Iwo Jima?
I've not seen that, no.
I think I did a while back.
Okay. He is fantastic in that movie. He is phenomenal. I mean, he is so great in that movie. I was shocked that he wasn't nominated for Best Actor at the Academy Awards. I don't think he was given the best material to work with right here, maybe, because he was so dumbfounded at everything that was going on.
I know, right? He was one of the most clueless people in the whole movie.
Yeah.
I found that. I thought that to myself several times. Like, how has he not figured this out by now?
His favorite line: "We must let them fight."
That's the resolution. That's the film's message.
Good move, man.
Good move.
Brilliant. We pay you how much for this? It's hilarious because that guy, he's like the Japanese Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Every movie.
Yeah.
Just having that role it's kind of funny.
I like that how one person put it. He's either a mall cop or a janitor. So he's here to clean. He's here to.
Awesome.
I like the janitor part actually because he's Earth's janitor. He's here to clean up any of the fallen species that come upon this Earth, and he's just here to clean them up.
Here's another one. Call Godzilla.
Call 1-800-GODZILLA.
Who you gonna call?
Godzilla. Don't die in there, Chris.
You okay there, man?
No, that was such a good one.
I try.
Oh my god. No, it's funny because the old 70s cartoon actually did something like that. Where they actually had so that all when you said that just threw a huge wave of nostalgia into my face. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he remembered. I can't believe I remember something like that.
Up from the depths, 30 stories high, breathing fire, his head in the sky. Godzilla, and Godzuki.
Ian, you watched the original earlier today. Now that movie, at that point in time, was made. It's a movie that was based off upon the paranoias. I don't know if you watched any documentaries or if you were aware of that whole idea when they made the original Godzilla. But that movie is a huge anti-nuclear weapons and just the paranoias of the aftermath of World War II from the Japanese perspectives.
I was just saying, there's subtext, and then there's the blatant in-your-face text at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
The whole, if we stop nuclear testing, this will never happen again. Well, wait, what are you trying to say?
Mm-hmm. Because this movie doesn't really have that kind of deep type of metaphorical subtext in this movie. And that's one of the things that kind of stood out to me because I was kind of curious to see how they would handle a Godzilla movie in a post 9/11 era of films and kind of put it more in the modern context. And I didn't really get anything at all. It felt just like a very straightforward monster movie. Did you guys sense anything at all at a deeper subtext or metaphors in this movie that kind of relate to the modern day problems or anything like that?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't as overt as the original Godzilla. You kind of got a hint of it here and there, but you could also tell that the producers were trying to avoid the whole in-your-face environmental message deal.
We already had Noah with that, so we don't need to...
Yeah, and then that caused quite a stir. So, yeah, I think there's the line about nature and then the visual image towards the end of the film, but it just wasn't as overt as the original Godzilla.
I mean, I really, really didn't pick up a very strong message of that sort at all. They hit it very well, and I think they really just focused on paying tribute to the original Godzilla. There was a lot of head nods in it, I could tell. And then just, making a good B grade with quality monster flick.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I came away with mostly. The other stuff in it was, it was what you'd expect of that kind of film, but not in your face.
I will make this point, though. At the very end, after the carnage and the aftermath of what has happened, there's that shot where they're going through the rubble of the city, and, the firemen are going through the rubble, and they're finding people. There's this huge wide shot of just the city just demolished and just wreckage everywhere. That scene, to me, really spoke out a 9/11 visual cue right there. Do you know what scene I'm talking about? Like at the very end?
Yeah.
So guys, the movie has kind of gotten really positive reception amongst the critics, but yet at the same time, the critics are kind of like, it's not the great Godzilla movie that we were hoping for. Like, before going into this movie, did you guys expect a movie that would have a lot more Godzilla in it than what you were?
Yeah, I think I was expecting a little more Godzilla, and a lot less
The human stuff.
Yeah. Just because, it's a film with the name Godzilla. And, it seemed like every time it got to a really good part, they cut away.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're about to see him. Okay, no, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what I was going to go with, the fighting scenes. Because you just mentioned the cutting away. Just when we get, the first encounter between Godzilla and the other monster, they're about to go head and head with one another, and all of a sudden they cut to something else. I mean, how lame is that? I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, that's actually my words. It's like, what? That's kind of lame. It's like, oh, he's about to beat up on the monster. Cut to kids crying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not sure why you did that.
And also there's a shot with Elizabeth Olsen. She's running through the streets. It's raining. They're going down to one of the cellars or the street subways, I think, and they're closing the doors just as the battle between the monster and and Godzilla are about to commence, and it cuts again. Yeah. Like, what are you trying to do? And that's another thing with this movie. I wasn't really on the edge of my seat as much as I was hoping for. Like, there was only 2 or 3 scenes where I was on the edge of my seat. And that scene was the bridge scene, which that was fantastic. I think that was
that was good, yeah.
That was a great action set piece right there. The bridge scene, trying to get that the nuclear bomb across.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good intense scene right there. And then of course the Godzilla bridge scene. But the scene that got to me was when the bird hits the bus window. that shook me up a little bit. Like, ooh, that shocked me. I wasn't expecting that. I wish there was more moments like that in the movie. That kind of oh my gosh, just kind of.
Oh, it just kind of pulled you in a little more, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that whole the Golden Gate Bridge scene is fantastic. I mean that was fantastic. Especially when the other one comes out from the clouds and just dives into that battleship and grabs the nuclear bomb. Can I just say something about the nuclear bomb? These monsters, they are some of the biggest nuclear drug addicts I've ever seen in my life.
In their 12-step program for that, Nuclear Warheads Anonymous.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. These guys. No, there is a message in this movie. It is a message to the kids saying, kids, whatever you do, don't take drugs. They're bad for you. It's like meth or cocaine. Don't get into it.
I was expecting more Godzilla, especially seeing that one clip ahead of time with the Halo jump. That was epic. I really loved that clip. That was really cool. So I went into Godzilla with really high expectations because that clip just really pulled me in. That clip just said so much by itself. I mean, that was almost a full film right there.
I think that was actually the first piece of footage ever to be released to the public.
I think so too. Yeah, I remember seeing that in theaters, and so it really pulled me in. So I was expecting a lot more, and I was. about halfway into the film, I was kind of getting disappointed. It's like, this is not going to be as good as I thought it was going to be. But I enjoyed it in a different way. It was not the epic that I thought it was going to be, though. And so I'm slightly upset about that, but it was good for what it was.
Yeah. My gosh. That was another scene where I was on the edge of my seat. And
that music pulled you in. The vocals there is just...
That comes from 2001: A Space Odyssey. I don't know if any of you saw that movie.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, that you remember that little piece of music from that movie where the what is it
again?
The
voices just kind of wailing and yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what the name of the object was. That's where that voices are coming from.
Does anybody know?
No, I don't even think Stanley Kubrick knew what that was, or Arthur C. Clarke. But anyway, oh my gosh! Like, did any of you see this in 3D?
No, didn't want to spend the extra dough.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, same here. Saw it in regular 2D, but I'm sure that scene must have been really fantastic in 3D.
Oh yeah. Now, as far as just a visual effects standpoint, that was a really inspiring scene. It's like, whoa, the matte paintings that they put into the compositing, that's just gorgeous.
I know. Like, I would love to get like a still of that.
Oh, yeah.
A frame still of that. That would be, like, I would love to see like some of the artwork for that particular moment. But yeah, that was, like, if there's one thing that's going to stand out from this movie, it's that moment. Period. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to stand out, and I don't know what it was. Like, there was something about it that seemed to be an interconnection between like heaven and hell for some weird reason. There, if you really think about it, it almost like is a metaphor.
It kind of did look like it, yeah.
Like angels coming down out of heaven or something like that.
Yeah, just already ascending into hell for the final conflict. You know? And I loved how there's like almost like three levels. There's the plane, which is heaven, and you have the nice bright sun, and you have some guy praying. I mean, that's so interesting. And then you have that one shot where they're in between the clouds, you know, the darker clouds and somewhat of the more lighter clouds above them, and then they already ascend into hell. Ah. That was just something just visually astonishing to behold. Oh man!
Yeah.
Can I jump in and say that the cinematography was amazing?
Oh man, it was so good.
It was. I love the way they used some of the. I remember one shot is just we see the guy and he gets in the car and the camera just makes this very subtle movement and then suddenly we're focusing in the rearview mirror. It's just it was.
Wasn't that amazing?
That was so inspiring.
You got to that shot, I was like, oh, that was awesome.
Exactly what I was thinking. Yes.
I was just looking at Seamus McGarvey.
Yeah.
He worked on Avengers. And
okay.
And a bunch of others. Yeah. He is so good.
He is. Yeah.
But dude, can we just talk about the huge fight scene between Godzilla and the monster? Like, when he vomited into that monster's face, he did. He vomited all that nuclear power into that little poor monster's mouth.
Well, there goes my mental image.
I know, right? I was just thinking breathing fire, but okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and it was blue.
Yeah, it was like, whoa, I did not see that one coming. Yeah.
This alpha predator of yours, Doctor. Do you really think he has a chance?
The arrogance of man is thinking nature is in our control, and not the other way around. Let them fight.
On our closing thoughts here, I really enjoyed Godzilla. I mean, it wasn't the great movie that I hoped it was going to be, but I think it's a fun movie theater experience. And I would probably just say to my audience, I would recommend this for teens on up, because there is some profanity in this movie, but for the most part, it was pretty tameable. I mean, it's intense, but it really kept itself back from being really, really grim and dark, and I kind of appreciated that.
I say the same thing. I definitely recommend it for an older audience. But as far as an inspiration for visual effects and cinematography, it's a definite go-to.
Yes.
No, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely one I'm going to look forward to grabbing on Blu-ray and analyzing some once it comes out.
Yeah, I agree with Benjamin. Like, if you're into cinematography and CGI, this is a must-see film.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, dialogue and character development plays a secondary role to those.
But it doesn't hurt as bad as some other straight-out action flicks.
True.
Mm-hmm.
True. Cough. Expendables. Cough.
Yeah. Can we get a little less obvious?
I can try.
I'm actually kind of curious to see how Godzilla will do.
With some competition?
I mean, next week is going to be X-Men, which I think that movie's going to be big.
Seriously? It's already here? Oh.
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry. It opens up this Friday. So.
Oh, man. Why am I so busy this week?
Right?
We're going to go ahead and wrap up our show. Thank you very much, Ian, for coming onto our show and taking the time off of your busy schedule to just join us for this review on the new Godzilla movie. Hopefully, you can come back and do another movie with us.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you very much for asking me to be a part of this.
Sure. You just need to beat Ben's record now, so...
I know, right?
So this is...
You can try.
So...
As long as I get that condo.
Yeah. There you go. And that's going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Chris.
And I'm Benjamin.
And I'm Ian Maphett.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good night, and we'll catch you next week.